This is Andrew Kolb, and you're listening to the Master of One podcast. You can find me on everything at Kolb is Neat.
Welcome to another episode of the Master of One podcast, the podcast that just got released from our glass bottle, and it smells in there. Part 1 this week, we talk about Pirates of the Caribbean, War Machine, Sagrada, and Trudi Castle. I'm Andrew, your Master of Art and Design.
I'm Patrick, your Master of Television and Film.
And I'm Luke, your Master of Toys and Games.
So point your compass to the thing that you desire most, because it's time to set sail on another episode.
But it's pointing back at me.
To kick every episode off by going around the table, which is where we talk about something new, fun, and noteworthy about our weeks. Luke, I can't wait to hear about your week.
Okay. So is it Patrick first, or is it me?
See, I wasn't excited to hear about your week, but he sounded so excited.
Right?
But now I am.
You're welcome.
Man, okay, so this week I got a couple board games in. One I will talk about later, but another one I got called Tiny Epic Kingdoms. It's pretty cool. It is a, it's kind of like, it's hard to explain because it's a very unique, it's a very unique game. It's basically, everybody has this kingdom that they're trying to gather resources and expand their land.
Little do people know, here's a little peek behind the curtain. Luke literally doesn't talk from episode to episode. So he's just getting his bearings.
He's holding this box 3 inches from his face, just sounding it out.
So you're trying to expand your kingdom and grow your tower the highest. So that's how you win, whoever has the highest tower. But it's a relatively short game. It's like a half hour long, 2 to 5 players.
That's ironic.
What?
Whoever has the tallest tower. It's a relatively short game.
I see. I see.
It's a playoff of short and tall, Patrick.
But this company,
I totally thought you were making like a genitalia joke.
What? No, don't be gross.
Yeah, that's gross.
You're right. We would never stoop to that level.
Never.
Go ahead.
But it's one of 3 different games by Gamelin Games. They have Tiny Epic Kingdoms, Tiny Epic Western, and Tiny Epic Galaxies. I played more of Galaxies, and that's why, and I got it. One of my friends that I play board games with a lot, he bought that, so I decided to buy Kingdoms to see what it was in comparison. It's really fun. It's a pretty simple game, real easy to get into. So I've been playing that, and other than that, I went and saw Pirates. I took Milo to Pirates. Man, okay, so...
Are we going to talk about it during the movies, though, right?
Yeah. It's...
Okay.
You just wait then, I guess. Just wait, and I'll tell you what I think.
He's so excited. Oh, my gosh.
I'm pretty sure we're going to talk about it
it's
during
fine.
the movie time.
I wasn't going to go in depth. I was going to say whether I liked it or not. But I'll just wait. So, Andrew, tell us about your week.
Okay, so my week has been relatively crazy and busy, but one thing that I've been able to do this week is find a new game store that's actually relatively close to me.
Oh, that's cool, because the other one was kind of out of the way, it felt like.
Well, it's like 25 minutes away, and it becomes a thing. Like, you're going to have to just kind of go with the flow when you go there. But this other place is not that far away. It's about 10 minutes away, and it's like right down the street from the Alamo Draft House. So it's like... Whenever I go there, I can just kind of pop over.
It's like a win-win.
I got this game. Have you ever played the game Love Letter?
No.
You've heard about it, though, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so I had heard about the game Love Letter. I think I actually even played it one time with Jonathan Green, so with Bubba. But when we were at
happy
this
birthday,
game store,
Bubba.
That's true. Your birthday was like a couple weeks ago.
I think.
It's not today.
Yes, it is.
I miss him.
So I'm sorry, Patrick. I'll connect you two, and you guys can fly together and have fun. So anyway, Love Letter is a game about like winning over a princess, right? And so what I saw on the shelf at the game store was Adventure Time, and I'm like, oh, Adventure Time, cool. So I grab it off the shelf, and it's Adventure Time Love Letter. So it's a themed version of the game Love Letter, which, again, is a game all about wooing and winning over a princess. So it makes total sense for Adventure Time. It works really well inside of that kind of universe. And so I'll just kind of give you a quick rundown of it. You have different characters, and different characters have different roles, and the roles have different values to them. So I'm showing the guys on the screen, but the goal is to get the closest to number 8, which is princess, and at the end of the round. And at the end of the round, whoever has the highest points or the last person left gets a token of affection from Princess Bubblegum, which are these cool little. They're the same
like
kind of. Yeah, it's like a miniature version of the quartz crystals.
Yeah.
But each one has a different color, so that's cool. So that's it. And after 5 rounds, after however many rounds based on the number of players, whoever has the most of these wins.
Cool.
And it's very simple, very fun. Strategy is there to a certain extent, but a lot of it is just kind of luck of the draw. So anyway, but the art in it is fantastic. If you're a fan of Adventure Time, it's kind of like a more dimensional version of that. It's like almost as if someone was painting like fine art portraits of these characters in medieval clothing.
Nice.
So it's more dimensional, it's shaded and things like that. But it's very, very nicely done. It was super cheap. I think I paid $10 or $15 for it. And it was a lot of fun. You can play the whole game in like 15 or 20 minutes. So it's a good one to pick up. Besides that, I picked up these little blind box Disney Crossy Road. Have you ever played Crossy Road?
Yeah.
Okay, so have you played the Disney version of it?
No.
Okay, so Disney has a version of Crossy Road, which Crossy Road is essentially just Frogger, but 3-dimensional.
Yep.
Disney has a version of it where you can unlock different characters from some of their different franchises. We picked up, they have figures now, these little blind bag figures of them, and so I think I have about 18 of them.
That's
they're
cool.
like $2 at Target. But they're super fun, showing the guys they're little 8-bit characters, and they're actually done really well considering the cost of them. They're not like cheaply made. So anyway, Disney Crossy Road and Adventure Time Love Letter. That was my week.
It's
Lots of other games
Crossy, like
Crossy, like Crossy.
Okay.
Road, ROAD. They have to cross the road. It's like Frogger.
It's
in the
a
sense
super
that they're
simple
crossing
game
road.
mechanic. It's fun too. It's kind of surprisingly addicting.
I've never heard of it. Okay.
Yeah. Patrick, why don't you take us home, dude?
Yeah, so this has been, oh man.
I don't know why I said dude.
Dude, this is, I'll always remember Luke A. I hate that.
I hate that.
I hate that.
That'll always be stuck in my mind. Yeah, so this has been a bit of a week of spending money. So a couple exciting things. Now, unfortunately, I'm now in Andrew's boat where I get to wait for 3 years for the things that I buy. But I picked up the life-size Baby Groot hot toy from Sideshow Collectibles, which was very exciting. So this will be my first hot toy. And, the reason it's life-size is because Baby Groot is very tiny. But it comes with, like, I think 3 different faces you can swap out, 4 different hands, and it comes with like the jumpsuit that he puts on, the one that's like sewn for him or whatever. So super pumped to get in. It looks awesome, but unfortunately, I won't see it till like May of next year. So
Yep.
Happy birthday!
Hooray! So
nice delayed gratification. It's Patrick's favorite thing.
I know. And by that time, I'll be ordering Teenage Groot by the time I get it. So. The other thing I picked up, and I don't know why I waited so long, but I picked up the Pelicant figure from Joe Ledbetter and Kid Robot. So I talked about it on the show one other time. It's a pelican, and it has these like holes in its big bill, and so like all the water is spilling out of it.
Did you get the regular version or the variant?
I got the regular because the regular has the clear water.
Yep.
Nice. And as much as I love to, have the limited pieces, whatever, the regular just looks so good with that clear water. And apparently, so they have a little behind the creation that you can read. And JLED says that was actually the idea of someone at Kid Robot to do that, whatever that material is for that cast. But
acrylic?
Anyways, yeah, sure. I'm going to go with acrylic. That sounds good because you said it, and you seem smart.
Well, the clear is acrylic, I imagine. The rest is probably plastic vinyl.
I think it's just cardboard, but it's just like really thin, and they just layer it a lot. Anyway, the figure looks great. Glad to finally have ordered that, and so that should
go with that.
That should be coming at any time.
Layered
Now,
cellophane.
one thing I missed when I talked about it last time is that this piece is the lead into the Joe Ledbetter Outsiders Blind Box mini-series coming from Kid Robot.
Nice.
I did not realize that. I thought this was a standalone figure, but this is the lead into that. So I don't know when they're going to announce that. I don't know when I'm going to see the pieces. Who knows? Maybe if I paid more attention to JLED's Instagram, I would have already seen some designs. But that got me really, really excited because the last blind box set I can really think of was the Chaos Bunnies.
Yep.
And I loved those figures. They were some of my favorite. And honestly, probably the only good figure that Loyal Subjects has produced. And so I'm excited now that JLED is with Kid Robot, this series, and it seems, just by the name of it, it seems completely in his wheelhouse. So super pumped for it. So that's my stuff. Other than that, who knows what I've done. Honestly, I've been working on
I would hope you.
No, I've been working on a project that we can't announce yet. But that's been the rest of my week. So just enjoy that little teaser that there is something big afoot.
Yeah,
We're doing a
someone's
TV
got a
show.
big foot. Yep.
Oh, well, there
Spell
it was.
patent me.
And now Patrick has to decide which one of the hosts that is going to be the and me.
So I guess if that's it for your week, then I guess that's it for our Around the Table, which means it's time for Master Categories.
Easy bitty bodies.
Every week we talk about our Master Categories, which are the categories that we drew the week before. By our random tokens.
Randomly.
Yes, exactly. And last week, we all managed to get our own categories
Randomly.
once again. It's a beautiful thing. Did you really not hear me, or did you?
No, I'm trying to be a hype. I feel like we've never really tried the hype man thing.
Oh, yeah. No, I think there's a reason.
Might be reasons.
Reasons.
So, Patrick, why don't you let Luke tell us about his master category as the master of toys and games?
Dope.
Okay. All right. So I got this game called Sagrada, and it is gorgeous. It's based on, so this game is a dice drafting game where you are creating stained glass windows, and it gets its name Sagrada from the Sagrada Familia. It's a basilica in Spain. It's like a really famous church with tons of stained glass windows.
The family of Sagrada.
Yeah. So it is really easy to pick up. The rules are a one page folded in half, and that's all of the rules. It's so simple to teach and learn.
It's 8 feet long.
It's it's amazing. So what it is
tapestry.
You draft these colored dice, and then everybody gets.
Can I just say that I don't even care about your gameplay, because the idea of it's a game built around just fun-looking dice has me so excited.
Oh yeah, it's awesome.
When you say drafting dice, what does that mean?
Okay, so based on the number of players there are, you pull out, like, if there's 3 players, you draw 7 dice, and it's all different colored dice.
They're translucent colors.
Yeah, there's I think there's 6 different colors. I don't remember exactly. Okay. You roll them, and then each player takes a turn picking one of those die. And how it works is everybody's working together. Everybody gets their own card, and that it slides in. It's also a really smart board design or pieces design, because I don't know if you can tell from this, but these are indented, so the dice actually sit in there, and it's just looks really cool when it's all together. But you take turns picking a die. And then as you go around, it's a snake draft. So what that means is when you get to the last person, it then starts at them and goes backwards. And you take a die and you place it in your board. And there's rules on placement. you can't place any color or denomination of die adjacent with another one. You can't have two reds beside each other or two threes beside each other.
Can you box yourself in where like you can't finish your board?
Yes. So it's kind of like each person is playing their own little puzzle game. And you're drafting these dice to try and fill in certain parameters, and there's 10 rounds, and at the end of 10 rounds, you get points for different things you've done, and whoever has the most points wins. There are these cards that have different tools on them that let you do different things. So if there's a tool like if you want to move any one die in your window ignoring the color restrictions, or re-roll all dice in the draft pool, and different things like that. But those take like a fortune token, and each player starts out with a couple of them, depending on, again, how many players are playing. And you pay to use the tool, but then once it's used, it costs more for the next person to use it. So it's kind of one of those where you want to get it for cheap, but they do a lot more later game. So it's kind of a strategy of how to play against the other players.
It's a gamble.
Yeah, but then also complete your puzzle.
Now, is the goal that everyone completes their puzzle, or to be the first person to complete it?
Everybody wants to complete it. So everybody is drafting these dies over the 10 rounds to complete their window. And then you have secret objectives, like if I'm supposed to have the most red card, or the most red die, or the most blue die, or whatever, and I get X amount of points per die I have of that color. And that's another added like point value and a way to differentiate. But I've played one game so far. It's really fun. It's like I said, it's very simple to learn, and it plays relatively quickly, and it's really fun. So you can get it on Cool Stuff Inc. You can get it on Board Game Geek, and I don't know if Amazon has it still in stock. It was low, but
or just look for your local game.
Yeah,
people.
it was just kickstarted within the last year, so it's pretty popular. It's kind of hard to find, but if you find it, it's worth it.
This is probably the most, like, of all the games you've described, this is the one I most want to play that you've talked about.
So the best thing about it, it's kind of like reminds me of Quartz that Andrew brought up and that we've played together. It's a very good gateway game for people that want to bridge from like Catan into more like complex board games. It has a really easy on-ramp into more complex puzzle and strategy than most board games.
They made $150,000 on their Kickstarter.
Yep.
I gotta make a game.
Yeah.
But yeah,
all right.
That's it. Sagrada. Check it out. Let's throw it to Patrick.
I'm going to be honest, I was yawning just then. I feel like full discretion, that's what just happened. Okay, so I have TV, film. That's what it is. TV, I'm not going to be watching any new TV yet because my wife is going through The Office for the first time. So that is just
nice.
completely...
For the first time?
Yeah, it's completely on lockdown.
My.
She had seen like most of the first like 2 or 3 seasons, but like we just... And see, now I'm afraid, I shouldn't be afraid of spoilers, but like we just got to the part where Pam and Jim found out that they're pregnant.
Yeah.
And so she's like on the edge of her seat during this part.
Flipping her flops.
Yeah, TV's on lockdown, but movies, there's 2 specifically really big ones this week. So first one, War Machine. This is with Brad Pitt, and it's Netflix. So I don't know so here's the problem. I don't know my own semantics. I want to say Netflix original, but no, the rights were bought by Netflix. It's actually being produced by someone else, and they had budgeting issues, and so Netflix purchased it. But anyway, it's based on the book.
But it's a Netflix exclusive.
It's a Netflix exclusive. Thank you. That's better. It's based on a nonfiction book called The Operators, and it follows 4-star General Glenn McMahon. It looks like McMahon or McMahon. I can't. Honestly, like, I just watched it today, and I can't even remember how to pronounce his freaking name. So that tells you how memorable it was to me.
Glenimal.
Yeah, it's Glenimal. Thank you. But anyway, it just basically what's happening is that the war's been dragging on. They've removed the person that was in charge, and this is in Afghanistan. They've removed the general that was in charge. They're replacing him with this general because he is highly regarded as being someone that can, find the solution, and he's been successful throughout his career. And so they're bringing him in basically to try to wrap things up in Afghanistan. And it's just following that, and it's following the perspective of media versus, the general and obviously the high-ranking military officials versus the local community, and then also the politicians that are back home. So the people that maybe, in the general's mind didn't earn their seat at the table, right? Because they got there through charm, and he got there through, decades of military service. And anyway, so that's what it is. It's I don't have a great way of describing it other than it is somehow very engaging because of Brad Pitt's performance, and then also because of Ben Kingsley. He's awesome, and at the same time very boring for me. So
the movie or Ben Kingsley?
No, the movie.
Okay.
No, Ben Kingsley was great. Brad Pitt was great. And again, because there were some
It's
really
a comedy, right?
So that's how it was billed to me. That's what I understood is it was like a dark comedy.
Yeah.
But I think they mean it dark comedy in the sense that things were really effed up and not in the sense of it's actually funny.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
When you said you were talking about it, I kind of looked up some reviews, and this review says Brad Pitt is disappointing in this satire gone wrong. And it basically says that he plays his character like a goofball, and it just feels way out of place for the movie.
So here's where I don't know, because I don't know the character that he is playing. Okay.
Right. Sure.
So I don't know that because he has very specific mannerisms through the whole film. The way he walks, hold his hands, the way he runs, like everything is very unique and it's very odd. And I don't know if it is a caricature of that type of person.
Yeah.
Or if it is specifically, if he's actually mimicking a real person. So, because obviously it's based on a real person, but I don't know if his mannerisms are from that person or if he is just more broadly being a caricature of a high-ranking military, general, So that makes it odd because without that context, it does make it difficult to know how to take it. And honestly, some of the mannerisms are so weird that it kind of becomes funny, but in like a distracting way. Like, I'm trying to pay attention, but I can't pay attention right now because you're doing weird things with your body.
It keeps pulling you out.
Yeah. So it's, I was expecting comedy, and it's just, again, I think the comedic element is it's a messed up situation. But so, I don't know. I don't know that I would really describe it as a comedy. It's pretty boring. The thing I did think Brad Pitt's performance was very strong, and I also thought Ben Kingsley's performance was very strong. So for me, those performances are the things that kept me engaged. Sure. Swap them with anybody else, and it's just it's a don't watch for me. So anyway, but that being the case, I'm not telling you not to watch it. So it's
okay.
Like, throw it on the TV. If you hit this moment of like, I don't know what to do, and I've got 2 hours and 2 minutes or whatever it is to kill, throw it on. I don't think that you're gonna feel like,
wasted.
Yeah, exactly. I also don't think you're gonna walk away from it feeling like that was the best 2 hours I've ever spent. But anyway, whatever. It's just pretty middle of the road. But there's another film that may or may not be better because I have no idea. Pirates of the Caribbean came out this week, and I'm seeing people talk about it. I'm seeing it in our Slack community, imov1podcast.com/Slack. I'm seeing it in there, and then I'm seeing people. Honestly, that's all I check, so I'm only seeing it there. But I'm hearing Andrew and Luke talk about it, and they've both seen it. And so because it came out this week, and I feel like I can't deprive y'all of this. So Andrew and Luke, why don't y'all talk about Pirates for the rest of my category?
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Andrew.
Well, here
You want me to
broadly,
do the synopsis of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Do the synopsis, and then after the synopsis, so synopsis, don't give any of your thoughts. Then tell us your rating, and then once we know that, then defend your rating.
Sure. Okay. So here's the quick synopsis. It is, and you find this out within the first 2 minutes of the film, so I don't feel like this is a spoiler. Also, I saw some interviews last week before the movie even came out that divulged this information. So if you didn't know this, sorry, you'll find it out in the first 2 minutes. It's not a big spoiler. The movie centers around Will Turner's son, who is setting out to try to save his father from the curse of Davy Jones. And so you the movie takes place at the beginning of not right. It's like 10 years or 9 years after the last movie ended, which is where you find out that Will and Elizabeth Swann have had a baby when Will comes back for his once every 10-year journey, whatever. So this is 10 years after that, and then 9 years after that is really where the bulk of this movie takes place. It's kind of bringing the band back together. It's very much a pirates movie. If you've seen any of the films, each one kind of has its own general theme, but it's a very specific theme, but its general theme is always the same, right? Someone's looking for Jack Sparrow. He's done something wrong. He finds himself in a mess and somehow manages to fumble his way through it and whatever. So it's a very much a what you'd come to expect of a pirates movie, except there are some very redeeming things that happen in this film that make it a little bit more sentimental than other pirate films. I won't say anything else other than that. But
Your general rating.
It kind of takes some cues from some of the other
Bridget Jones's Diary
movies that have been coming out. Yeah, from Bridget Jones's Diary.
Okay.
So my basic ratings. I would probably give it an 8.5.
Wow. Luke?
7.
So both of y'all are high from what most of the other aggregated websites are saying. So, Luke, take over. Talk about that. What influenced your rating?
Right. Okay. So I would say I probably would fall more in line with the other reviews that we've seen come in, but I love Pirates of the Caribbean. I love that whole world. I love everything about it. Well,
that's the reason you grow your facial hair the way you do.
Right, and I don't bathe, and I mean, I'm going to be a pirate someday.
It's a pirate's life for you.
For me.
Yeah.
Yo ho.
You just got to get your boating license and get over your fear of water.
That's true.
But otherwise, so close.
But no.
We call him a land pirate.
Because he loves the booty.
You did it.
You are killing it, Patrick. This is great.
So yeah, so it's fun. It has all the cheesiness that you know and you come to expect, but there's a couple parts in the movie that feel kind of long-winded, and parts that were they were entertaining, but I found myself going, okay, let's get past this, and a little bit. So I don't know if this is the end of the Pirates franchise as far as movie-wise. It seems like it could be set up for more, but I thought it was the end of them. And if
they have gone on record as saying it is all the ad stuff says the final chapter.
Sure.
Like their marketing campaign is that. I understand what you're saying.
But is it final chapter of
Jack Sparrow and they can bring it in with somebody else?
Sure, yeah, of other characters or whatever.
Maybe.
If it is the final, I think everything that was added put a nice bow on everything and it's okay.
Right.
If it keeps going on, then I think this movie had a lot of extra stuff that just didn't need to be in there.
I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Is there anything you disagree with in that, Andrew?
No,
because I have a question.
I literally just said I agree with that wholeheartedly.
No, I know, but I have a question for you then, because this is one of the most expensive films the years that it's released,
Sure.
right? Like Pirates is, I don't know if it's specifically the first one or if it's like every subsequent one as well, but they are known to be very pricey films.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
And a lot of that just being due to like the location and things like that inflate the budget, but then also because there's a lot of CG and it's a lot of awesome
Tons of
talent
CG.
and they make a lot of
great
money.
CG.
And the actors.
Yeah. So, but that being said, I get this sense. So this is me personally, and I don't know. To me, there's a lot of, while the movie itself looks nice, there's a lot of the marketing pieces that feel really cheap to me and feel like kind of weird and gaudy, and they don't feel like they necessarily live up to the quality of the film itself. And I don't know if like the marketing has been degrading over time, like almost like, well, it's going to make a lot of money, so we can kind of like lay off a little bit. And maybe it's because it's just different people.
Like, what are some examples of that?
So, like some of the render, like, and I'm talking a lot about like title packages and some of that.
Can I take a stab at what you might mean?
Sure.
The movie posters seem almost indistinguishable from the others.
Sure.
From each other.
Okay.
And when you consider that the first movie was made 15 years ago?
Yeah.
Something like that. You'd think that there would be an advancement in that.
It just seems really lazy to me. And so my question was, has any of that translated to the film? Like, do you get the sense that like some of the pieces feel lazy or like they haven't progressed?
Writing.
Okay, so just like purely
The
script.
script writing maybe a little bit, but here's the deal. So I felt like the Pirates movies with the last one, the iteration before this, number 4.
Yeah.
It was like At World's End, right?
Yeah.
I think is what it's called.
Which I did see.
Wait,
you did see.
I saw that in theaters.
World's End or Stranger Tides.
Stranger Tides. World's End
Stranger
is
Tides.
3.
I felt like I was over it, right? But
Yeah, it
we
kinda jumped
watched
the shark
all
a
of
little
them.
bit, yeah.
We watched all of them this week, literally starting from 1
Yeah.
all the way through. And it felt weak to me. Now, this one, it felt like those beats hit on a nostalgic level for me.
Sure.
Because I knew, or at least I'm going in with the assumption that this is the final one.
Exactly. Yep.
They definitely tied a bow on things. They brought back things from the very first one that felt good. They felt like there was a resolve.
Yeah.
And it had some of the campiness and some of the cheesiness, some of the like there's no way this could ever happen in the real world. I mean, I know. Suspended reality, obviously, because there's ghost
Numerous
pirates and things, whatever.
reasons.
But right, exactly. But for me, I kind of forgave some of those with this one because I felt like it was that was nice, like a nice a nice tie back to the original.
Which Pirates film had the captain like descending the staircase on the ship and like the railing and stuff being blown out while he's like holding it, like walking down? Do you remember?
That was 3.
It was 3.
That was World's End.
So that seems like a very iconic scene to me. Just,
Sure.
I mean, even for the franchise as a whole,
Yeah.
is there a scene of that level in this film?
I mean, the fact that the main bad guy, if you will, Salazar, him and his crew are all like kind of half their characters. The CG, like it is incredible, and the stuff that
Some characters are only hats.
yeah, the stuff that's like done with his ship is awesome. There's a scene. There's an execution
It's
scene.
Del Toro, right? It's Del Toro. That's who plays him.
Oh no.
What's his name?
Benicio del Toro? No.
Yeah.
Is it? I don't think it is.
Who is it?
I don't know. Look it up.
I'm saying the name wrong. Okay, you keep going. I'll look it up.
There's a scene with an execution, and I'll leave it at that. But that is probably one of the most memorable, like, this feels like the fun of pirates scenes in any of the movies to me.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was just
we
really
laughed,
fun.
We laughed a lot during the movie, actually, in a lot of different places. This was the first one that I felt like there were very they were under the radar enough that kids would never pick up on it.
Sure.
But there was so much sexual innuendo in this movie in the best ways possible. They played with all sorts of fun like double entendres and things like that throughout the film, and I thought that they played very well.
There were like eye roll like cameos. There were like some kind of to me.
Like Paul McCartney.
Yeah.
That was unnecessary.
Like, come on. There was like there was a whole situation with you see stuff that happened in the past that felt a little weird. Like I don't know.
Javier Bardem, that's who it is.
Javier Bardem, yep.
That's a big difference.
Spectre and No Country for Old Men.
Yep.
That whole stuff with the stuff that happened in the past felt, while it was done technically well, it felt out of place a little bit. And then Jack, I will say this. For this movie, Jack didn't feel as much like the Jack that I know or I expected.
Yeah, this movie wasn't as much about him. Ironic, it's a weird thing to say when you see the film. That'll make sense, but yeah, there were some other characters. And again, if you consider that this is potentially the last film, at least that's how they build it.
Right.
There's a lot of redemption in this film. And for me, it tugged enough at those heartstrings, tugged enough at the nostalgia that I overlooked or gave leniency on some of the cheesiness.
Yep.
But anyway, it's a Pirates movie. If you love the Pirates movies, you're not going to be disappointed at all. It'll be better than... it was better than what I expected, because 4 for me was like, okay, really?
Yeah.
This was a good send-off if it was indeed that. So.
I agree with that. So, Patrick, let me ask you, because we were texting earlier and you said, no, I have no plans to see it. Are you not a fan of the Pirates movies or what?
No, I'm not. I mean, I'm not, honestly. Like, I've probably seen 2 out of the franchise.
Sure.
And neither of them hit very hard for me. And that coupled with the reviews, which have been probably mediocre at best, isn't enough to make me break the fact that I just am not really a fan of the franchise anyway.
Gotcha. That's fair.
So, all right.
Absolutely.
That's it for me.
Well, that's your 2 movie review. It's your double movie action
double feature
this time around.
That's right.
Double feature. That's nice. I'm going to round the bases then on master categories, and I have art and design. I'm going to do something that I haven't done in a while. I'm going to talk about an artist. I think about like the stuff we've been talking about with art and design. It's not that we've been like taking
games,
yeah, but this I'm going to actually talk about an actual artist. So this is a person I've been following for, probably a year or more on Instagram.
They told you to stop yet?
Nope. So the artist's name is Trudi Castle, and it's a lady who is from London originally, but now she lives in Vancouver, Canada, and she's a concept artist and a game artist.
Yeah.
And her work is so fun, it's so unique, it's so different. She goes by the handle of Lady T, like TEA, on Instagram, and that's where I found her initially. But the work has this playfulness to it. It has a sense of like hyper realism, but then she has her like original characters. It's called Coffee Crew. I don't know if you guys have seen this before, but it's like these like owl bird figures who go on these quests. It kind of reminds me of like Adventure Time meets Zelda.
Okay.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Meets like an Andrew Kolb drawing. That's honestly, like, that is the amalgamation that would be what her art reminds me of.
Okay.
But it's so much fun. Her, like, one of the main characters in that is this cloaked coffee cup. It's got a body underneath, but it's a coffee cup as the head, and then, like, the steam comes out. Her style is so unique and so fun. My hope would be that at some point in the near future we would have her on the show. But she does concept art for games as well. She's currently working on, what's the name of the game?
Darkest Dungeon.
I just forgot it.
Oh,
Darkest Dungeon.
As soon as I looked at that, I instantly recognized her art.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So go check out her website. Her website is Trudi, Trudi, art.com. Follow her on Instagram for sure, because she's always putting out great stuff. But gosh, her color choice, her composition, all of that mixed with her stylistic approach to things makes her like top of the charts for me.
Yeah.
So go check her out, Lady T. Trudi Castle. So on that note, I think we're going to go ahead and call this one done. It's a shorter one this week, so you're welcome, everybody. You can check us out on mof1podcast.com, where you can find show notes and links to all the stuff we just talked about in this episode. And you can find us on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. I don't know why Twitter came punched out like that. But find us on social media. Just search M of One Podcast. Connect with us on there. Talk with us. We want to talk with you. And then find us on Slack. Patrick mentioned it earlier in the episode. Go to mofonepodcast.com/Slack to join the conversation. It is a great time in there. You don't want to miss out on that. If you're not part of that, make sure you get there now. iTunes and Stitcher, you can subscribe to the show. This week we have a great guest coming up on Friday. You want to make sure you subscribe before that so it comes to you ever so easily to your phone
She's a
or
lady.
listening device. She's a lady. Yep.
Whoa. She's a lady.
Nice. And then after you do that, Patrick, what do?
You rate and review us, and because here's why. It helps us. It does us a lot of good. And then we will read whatever you say on the air. So, like, if you have a message, if you have very strong political opinions, religious ideologies that you want to communicate to a large number of people, this is the way to do it.
I mean, maybe. Maybe. or just if you want to tell us about how the show is.
Yeah, or that would say if there's a third option. If
I would
there's
say
a
we're
C.
slightly more interested in that part of it, but
I would say I'm more than slightly
But
more, but that's
let me say
fine.
what I'm disappointed in. We haven't got to read any reviews lately, so please go leave a review because I want to read it on the
know.
air. That's the reason this episode is short, because we leave space.
We've got about 50 reviews. We know that we have more than 50 regular listeners. So if you're a regular listener, and I would constitute a regular listener as somebody who's listened more than to more than 4 episodes, right?
Yeah.
You're a regular listener, and just leave us a comment on there, drop a note, and add a rating because it does help us a ton. I know you hear us say that every single week, unless you turn off as soon as Patrick introduces himself. That's. But it really does help us a ton, so we're not above begging, obviously. You can also join us on Patreon, where you can support the show financially. You can just you can become a patron for as little as $1. You can become a blooper patron for as little as $5. Every little bit counts, and it helps a ton. This stuff isn't free, and the free isn't cheap.
Okay.
How does that go? Is that the phrase?
That is not
Yeah,
the phrase
sure.
at all, but sure.
Okay. Either way, we're going to get out of here for this episode. I'm Andrew.
I'm Patrick.
I'm Luke.
Peace out.
Bye.
Hold on to your butts.
I got that in my heyday.
I don't need to.
Oh. Really?
Really?
Well, what if you... Hey, I need to make sure I don't talk directly into my mic because...
Directly. It's not even funny.
I don't even...
Awesomely funny.
Is that what I sound like?
Yeah.
What then? Y'all are my 2 best friends.
Yeah.